Everybody accepting the people. You know that you can't believe a thing that Marianne tells you, so let's start that off. It is true that I worked at UMaster for something like 4 years. And I do wish to say that back in the Sawyer days, it was an absolutely super job. I'm extremely lucky to have had the career that I've had. Started in been to plant for this for quite a long time. And to give you some idea of the organization, I first joined the group. I worked for Stereocraft Engineering. Stereocraft Engineering was a satellite company of Sawyer's Inc. We designed and built all of the Sawyer's precision equipment, and designed all of their equipment, their products. We had a machine shop and did a number of things that at that time Sawyer wasn't doing. UMaster was an absolutely great operation. As you know, later on, perhaps Sawyer went into the light projector business and movie projector business. But let's not talk about that tonight. What I'd like to do is give you a kind of an outline or an idea of what went on with the camera production, what was involved in the evolution of the camera.
I bid 50.
Although, you know, we made a tremendous number of viewers, but right now I just want to talk about the cameras that we produced. This is the basic stereo camera, the personal camera. This is actually the original prototype. This is the production prototype. It was actually hand-built. You can tell by the variation in the you can tell by the variation in the filter that the coating's coming off, and it looks like it's rusted. It's not rusted. It's the filter itself was starting to deteriorate. This was actually the first camera produced, and all hand built. Now that you've got the film, you've got to cut it. This is one of the first original prototype cutters. Actually, it had to be used in an arbor press. Second model, well, we had Henry, you could use it by hand. The third model was our production model, which you're familiar with. And unfortunately, they're getting scarce. And my reason for that is, or my explanation for that is that if somebody dies, they say, "Oh gosh, this is a camera. I'm going to sell that, save that." This other cutter is just God knows what it is. It's a piece of junk and maybe they throw it away. So was the TDC Vivid, and it was originally made for TDC, the third dimension company, and shortly after we started manufacturing it, Bill and Howell bought out the third dimension company. But this is a production model, with the exception of the PC contact, which has been added. Again, the idea was to make it simple for everybody to be able to use, and it had the same exposure indicator up above as well as a calculator. It had one other unique function in that, in addition to that, it had a guide here for your flash, so it could tell you how far your flash would reach. And it says SM and SF. For those of you who remember, those are the faster flash bulbs. This particular camera had a 0 millisecond delay. The personal cameras had a 7.5 millisecond delay here that you have to put the film around. The reason is relatively simple. I'll tell you the secret, because originally the camera was designed for a 24 by 30 format, a European format. 'Cause the personal camera is a 10-to-1 ratio, or 10-to-11 ratio. We like the European format, and that's what we designed it for. And the design was already solidified. We had actually started tooling when our friends, the Kodak people, decided to come out with their stereo camera. And guess what they picked? As you know, they picked the realist format, and so that was going to become the national standard. And so now what do we do? We had to go back to the realist format and go to a 1-to-3 advanced mechanism. And how do you get the extra room? We got the extra room by running the film around this little pole. And fortunately it worked out great, because we a few special ones we tried. This one has a manual convergence set up on it. We looked at 2-lamp projectors, but those were never produced. Basically, the projector was built as designed. The major changes were the difference in the black ones and the two-tone color, and the two-sided lenses. Now, everybody says let's always be thinking about something and changing things. And this is somebody's idea. I don't know where it came from. It's a cosmetic design that early on we were thinking about what can we do to change the appearance and maybe make it a little more attractive. This design went nowhere. For that we had some problems with this particular set of designs. But again, we always tried to field test everything before we made any changes while we were talking about the concept here. So what else can you do with a Viewmaster camera to lessen the cost? You take these little lens tunnels and you have to shift them up and down, and both those two, so you have 2 lens tunnels, which are 2 more kind of more. And the idea was, hey, let's take and do this crazy diagonal film path. And this is one of the first really basic, just functional models. Some of the parts are still missing, but we actually did try this, and we actually did use it so we could improve to kind of prove the design. This was the front of the camera, so from the front of the camera it looks normal. Back of the camera is kind of weird. Anyway, after we decided that was the way we wanted to go, we went one step further and made a production prototype, well, pre-production product. This was made out of brass. I don't know why we didn't use aluminum nowadays, but because it weighs a ton and a half. But again, demonstrating the diagonal film path. And this is the front of it, and if you pardon the expression, it might, someone might consider it ugly. But you have design people that really can doll things up. And this was their attempt. It was pretty good. But still, it's still kind of big and boxy. And about that time, well, we went back to the drawing board, and somebody came up with this design, which is really, I think, pretty nice. Anyway, about that time, we decided, what we're going to do, what do you do with a viewer? Are you going to take the film and cut it and put it in a Viewmaster reel? Or are you going to come up with a different kind of viewer? Well, this is a prototype of a viewer, or a concept of a viewer that we looked at, which is unique when you look at the back side of it. The film goes diagonally through it. You don't have to bother to cut it, because you can put the film in a cartridge. These are just wooden models, they're concept models. About that time, we decided that Europe wanted to build a unit, we wanted to build a unit, we wanted to build a less expensive one. Church was actually produced in Europe as the Mark II, which a lot of you are familiar with. So it took a long time getting there, but this camera works well. It has an inexpensive shutter. There's nowhere near the precision camera that the personal is. And a lot of you probably use it. All our original photography was being done with gyroscopes and Belplastas and hydroscopes, and we had a number of problems. The realist, the one built in the United States, was great, except it had the standard, the American standard now, the realist format. One of the things we did with the Veriscope, for instance, Veriscope has a pneumatic shutter. We put contour shutters in them, contour escapements in them. We built them so we could accept the wide-angle lenses and did a lot of things like that. We were looking for a good, reliable camera. One of the ways that we could get our hands on camera was to take one of these and open it up and to the European format, or the wider format. We made a few of those and for our original photography. Then this is one of the things that never went over. Viewmaster paid for a lot of sins and a lot of bad plots. There were things like the Garden Genie. Anyone heard of a Garden Genie? That was a device we made for weed killing your garden and fertilizing your garden. We had the Rolls dictating machine, which was a wonderful machine. The interior bottom was showing the mechanism and the camera. What do you do now that you shoot the stereo movie? What are you going to have? Next thing is a viewer. So we came up with a viewer, again, diagonal film path. But when you look inside the viewer, it's pretty complicated, and the decision was to not go with that. There were a number of other products that didn't go. We did a lot of experiment in a lot of different areas, but I just wanted to give you some insight into
today. But we're not going